This is something we can do. And I think we're going to get there because there's too much at stake not to get there, not just for the American economy, but for the world economy. And we have a chance to do something very good for the country now. Very good for the country now. And again, not just protecting 98% of Americans from seeing an increase in their taxes, not just preventing the threat of default hanging over the country in the future, not just preventing deeply damaging spending cuts up front in this context, but doing something to help create room to invest in infrastructure, strengthen the economy, get more people back to work, and putting our long-term fiscal house in order. And that's what we're going to work towards. Now, there's no surprise. You're a pro at this. There's going to be a lot of political theater between now and when we get there.
And is this a part of that political theater? Meaning this is your opening gambit here. It's not, you're not going to get what you went up there and put out there for Republicans.
What we're trying to do, and this is the only way I know how to do these things to solve problems, is you have to be very clear and direct with people about what you want and what you need and what's important for the country. And that's what we did. And in those proposals, no surprise, they're the things the president campaigned on. The country's had a chance to think about the merits of those proposals. They're overwhelmingly supported by the American people and in the business community, and that's why we think that ultimately they're going to be the basis for an agreement.
So the $50 billion in stimulus, let's take that, that's in there for roads and infrastructure, et cetera. If you don't get that, then no deal?
Again, huge support in the business community for that.
Okay, but
huge
if you don't
support
get that?
And it's good for the economy because, again, it makes businesses more competitive, gets more Americans back to work. It's something we can afford. And those proposals we made to strengthen growth are things we pay for in this plan. We show how to pay for it, how to make sure that we're using the savings from the wars, for example, to invest in things that are important to America. And again, what we're asking people to do is to make a modest investment in making this country stronger.
Right. But again, you know where this is going. John Boehner, again, the speaker, said that we're at a stalemate. Is that how you would describe where things are?
No, I think we're far apart still. But I think we're moving closer together. Again, remember...
Where are you closer?
Well, the Republicans have said for the first time in decades, if I'm not mistaken, the leaders of the Republican Party, that they are prepared to raise taxes as part of a deal that helps reduce our long-term deficits. Now, what they haven't said to us is how far they're willing to go both on rates and revenues, and that's something we're going to need to see from them if we're going to have an agreement.
Well, they've said no increase in rates. They've said that.
Yeah, but there's going to be, but they know this. I mean, there's not going to be an agreement without rates going up.
So you'll go off the fiscal cliff if the Republicans say, sorry, no way are we going to raise rates for on the wealthy. You guys are willing to go off the fiscal cliff.
If Republicans are not willing to let rates go back up, and we think they should go back to the Clinton levels, a time when the American economy is doing exceptionally well, then there will not be an agreement.
So you'd be willing to let that happen?
And again, let me explain why. If they are going to force higher rates on virtually all Americans because they're unwilling to let tax rates go up on 2% of Americans, then that's a choice they're going to have to make. But they'll own the responsibility for the damage to the American economy.
But it's kind of a choice that the country will have to pay for, correct? So is there some responsibility for you all? Like you would let that happen, say, okay, fine, you guys don't want to do tax rates, we're out of this.
Again, what we're trying to do is to get them to come together and join us in doing something that's good for the American economy. And we recognize that's going to require spending savings, not just revenue increases on the top wealthiest 2% of Americans.
And you would like them to propose the spending on the spending side. You'd like to see what they want.
No, we proposed detailed proposals on both sides. If they want to go beyond that, then they should tell us what they'd like to do. If they want to do it differently, they should tell us what they want to do.